My name is Derrick Walker, and I was asked to do an interview for Saxland, Neil over at Saxland, and he asked me about Michael Bloomfield. The first time I saw Michael was at the Muir Beach Tavern in Marin County, California, and he's playing with the Electric Flag. And people I had met after that was Buddy Miles and Nick Ravenitis, and we were like 14 years old. We were the young guys that were like running around everywhere. And when I saw the flag playing, I tried to get as close to the guitar as possible because at that time I actually wanted to play the guitar. Uh, Michael was very friendly and very nice. Smiled at me a lot. And fast forward years later, my friend Ben King Perkoff, saxophonist, got a job in the Chicago Blues Power Band, which was the Michael Bloomfield backing band at that time. And they asked me to come by and jam with the band, so I went there, sat in with my alto, and sat in. And a couple of days later, the leader of that band, Ron Bukovic, called me up and asked me if I wanted to join the band. So there I was in the Michael Bloomfield band. The band was very unorganized, and we had a great time though. Michael liked to play New Orleans style music, which fit the horn section very well. It was Mr. Hart McNee on baritone saxophone, Ben Perkoff on tenor, and I was playing alto and doubling on the harmonica. When we played a gig, we never stood still. The horn section was always dancing and waving the saxophones, and it was a very happy band. A lot of people came and sat in with that band. In the beginning, we just played some small gigs around the Bay Area. Then the tour manager, Mr. David Scott, started booking us more tours. There's a few stories around that. And one of the tours, our tour bus broke down, and Michael got out and flagged down a big semi-truck, an 18-wheeler, and told them the situation, and we loaded all of our equipment, the PA system, drums, all the amplifiers into the truck. Guy drove us all the way to the gig. Michael had this influence with people. They just trusted him and liked him automatically. He was that kind of guy. And another tour story was we were playing at a college town, doing 3 nights at a college town. The first night, it went great. We were, like really on top of it. And of course, when that happens, the band gets all excited and wanted to have a after party. So in the hotel, I had to share rooms with somebody, and they were partying all night. And I at that time was into my religion and martial arts, and I didn't want to party or have the influence of what was going on. So I asked Michael, "Can I stay, in your room?" And he agreed as long as I didn't speak. you know? So the next night, the sound check's at 6 o'clock. Michael doesn't show up for the sound check. The gig's at 9. We start playing the gig. We usually do a couple songs before he went on, depending on his mood. But he wasn't there, and so we had to play the gig. We started playing the gig after a couple songs. The audience is saying, "Yeah, Bloomfield," and all this stuff. And I made the joke, "I'm Michael Bloomfield," and the audience went boo. It's really, they really didn't like that joke. We had to play the whole gig. Some people left, and then the next night, the rumor was out that Michael really wasn't there, and so there wasn't hardly any people in the house. So, David Scott called Michael's house, and Michael answers the phone, and evidently he was discouraged that the band, was so into partying, and he really didn't like that. He had been through all that, and he didn't want the influence around him. And yeah, so we had, we played that gig with all them. Michael had gone home, but then the band had to realize that Michael was a very serious person, and that he didn't like that kind of thing. So the band kind of sharpened up after that, because they wanted to go on tour, and they want to be in a Michael Bloomfield band. Michael told us to think of it as our band, and to practice and to make something out of it. We did not. There was a lot of infighting and jealousies and just like a family, dysfunctional family. So the band, I would say, as far as bands I have been in since and everything, I wouldn't give it a very high rating as far as being ambitious and trying to do something. But that's what Michael wanted us to make something. Michael, on the other hand, was very encouraging and always encouraged me. He told me once, when I was feeling, I had low self-confidence and feeling, my playing wasn't up to par, and Michael sat me down. I was really nervous before gigs and stuff. As you see, I stutter, and I stuttered a lot worse than. He said, I believe in you, and I wouldn't have you in the band if I didn't believe in you. And he had also told me some other things. When we did the recording for the album Cruising for a Bruising, him and Norman Dayron, well, first they did this trick on me. They put me in the recording booth. I'm playing a harmonica on the song called Snowblind, written by Nick Gravenitis, and they put me in the booth. They said, "Well, we're going to run the track by you, so just warm up on it a little bit before we start to record." So the track's running, and I play around a little bit on it, and then they go. Norman Dayron goes, "Okay, thank you," and I was like, "What? Thank you? Are you going to roll the track now? Or are we going to record?" He goes, "No, we got it." It's like, what? And then Michael told me, he goes, your first impression of the track is the real one. The first thing that you play is your real inspiration. And after that, you're trying to copy yourself. And I've used that format, that way of thinking in all my recording sessions since then. So that had a big influence on me. After the recording, when we were sitting listening to it afterwards, him and Norman Dayron told me something that shocked me at the time. They said that you're the best, and you can tell people that we said that. And I was like, the best? What do you mean? What are you talking about? I know that I'm not that great harmonica player or anything. But that's what they said, and that I could tell people that. And so now I'm telling you. No, what they meant, though, is that I was sincere, honest, and I played traditional. I played, I had learned, not to play just licks and to listen to the music. Something like that. Anyway, so not to make a very long story, Michael let me live at his house. I had some problems in my relationship, and I had to move out. And he said, I can't have a homeless person in my band. And he let me move into his house there in Mill Valley. He had an old broken down Impala, well, dilapidated Impala with bald tires, and he would have me drive down to the store and buy a couple bottles of wine for him. And as far as him taking drugs. He did not take drugs that last year of his life. I know that the the rumor is that, oh yes, he died of a drug overdose. I believe that. And the way that I think that happened was after I moved out. There was some bad influences in his life, and that he decided to experiment again with that, and that took his life. He liked to live very simply. He had a large record collection. One whole wall of his house was just records, and he had a lot of books. He would stay up late at night playing the piano. He had insomnia. A lot of people would, because they knew he was up late at night, they would come by and visit him after their gigs, like Harvey Brooks or Nick Gravenitis, Dan Hicks. He had a lot of people that I would visit him. For instance, Bob Dylan came to visit him. The only person I'm really nervous around, that was Bob Dylan. You know, when I met Bob Dylan, I was like, oh, you know. Michael went, the last tour of his life was with Bob Dylan. And then he before he left, he gave me a gun and told me that some people might come by and want to stay there for a while. To let them stay for a couple of days and then tell them that they had to leave. Now, the fact that he thought I needed a gun says something. These people came. I let them stay a couple nights, and then I let them stay one more. So they stayed 3 nights, and I told them that they had to leave. They got very angry with me to the point where they crashed deliberately into my car, with their car, and I ended up having to actually threaten them with this gun. And I don't own a gun. I don't like guns. So it took a lot for this to happen. Now, somehow in my mind, I had equated these two people that had come to visit to his death later. But that's just speculation. I'm not going to go on any further about that story. It's sad. Anyway, that's my Michael Bloomfield story. I'm going to tell some more. I call it my Midnight Blues Stories. And I'd like to thank Neil for asking me to do this over at Saxland, and we'll see you on the next one.